Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of USA Podcast. Today I got a special guest. I'm excited. I can't even say it. Dave Desrochers, right?
Desrochers, yep.
All right. Well, welcome, Dave.
Thank you very much.
Man, I appreciate you joining us. I was excited when Elizabeth, hey Milo, I got someone that wants to be on the podcast. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Really? Hey, let's do it.
Yeah.
So,
well, Elizabeth's a rock star, man.
Yeah,
she does
is.
a lot of great stuff with young people, and she coaches. She and I have worked out a couple of times together, and then she complains for about 3 or 4 days. I'm like, hey, the old guy knows some things, And so they go, I'm using it. I'm going to use that with my clients. I'm like, all right, as long as I get credit.
Exactly, right? Give me my credit. Give me my credit.
She's really cool.
Yeah. Well, welcome. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day and joining us. And
of course.
why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Dave?
Well, sure. First of all, I appreciate what you do in working with young people, and that's what I do quite a bit today. Like I shared with you, we just got done yesterday closing out the Men in the Trenches camps, Jesse Sapolo's camp. We work with high school football athletes throughout Orange County, and to see those kids coming out on a Saturday, bright and early on a Saturday morning, separating themselves from the rest, right?
Yeah. And that extra work, right?
Yeah, we talked to them about being able to impose your will. Well, what are you doing to separate yourself from the rest?
Exactly.
And to watch the progression of young people doing it. So I'm sure you get to see that every day. So that's why I didn't hesitate to take you up on your offer to come be on this, because I love to support that. I wear this ring is I coached in varsity football, volunteered, and working with young people. So I get the passion, and it's just about making a difference. So
exactly.
About me, I was fortunate enough to play a little bit of football, and I'm going to share this story with you because I think it's important for young people that are in sports or that have dreams about even playing at the high school level, but if you want to continue to grow and get to the next levels, about how I was able to do that, and then I did make it to the NFL. And from there, I've had various professional deals, and I'm a vice president and partner of a company called bothto, which is a online career discovery program, and we help young people determine what their best suited career is, so they can define a major and have a successful collegiate experience. And then we work with veterans and people in transition.
Yeah.
So we have 2 programs that are online, which I really enjoy doing, and I'm now an ambassador and spokesperson for a company called Energize Health, which is about intercellular hydration and fat loss and kind of resetting your genetic blueprint and getting your body to be more efficient. And so anything having to do with health and helping people with a purpose, I get involved with, and then a lot of different community events. But I always like to talk about how I got to the NFL, because it isn't what a lot of people think. The question I usually put out there is, of the 1.4 million kids playing football today in high school, there's only 180 that are going to make a roster or a practice squad this year in the NFL. Yeah. So that number, of course, is a very small percentage. And so the question I usually pose is, how many of you believe that 180 was the best of the best, going way back to the high school years, right?
Yeah. And
most people will raise their hand saying, yeah, because that just makes sense. Well, I can assure you that's not the case for me. As a matter of fact, I almost didn't play football. My junior year, I had determined, I made it to the final cut for the Olympic development team for basketball, and I had a couple scholarship offers, and so I was just going to focus on basketball because I wasn't very good at football.
Really?
Yeah.
So what age did you start playing football then?
Well, I didn't play until I was in 9th grade because I was too big. I would have had to have aged up, and my mom says, no, you're not going to do that.
Oh,
so I played soccer. I played soccer for like 7 years, as a kid. I played soccer and basketball.
That's a big soccer player coming at you.
Yeah, well, I wasn't coming at anybody. I was sitting goalie, and I was sitting as center fullback because I wasn't running around a whole lot.
Yeah.
But actually, taking that approach was very beneficial to me. Being out running around on a soccer field rather than on a football field.
Yeah.
And tearing up my body that was still growing.
Yeah.
My mom was wise to hold me back from that. But so anyway, I played in 9th grade. I played in 10th grade, and I just wasn't very good. And I was good at basketball, so okay, I'll just play basketball. Well, we got a new football coach, and he walks up to me and goes, "Hey, big guy, you gonna play football?" And I said, "No." And he goes, how come? He goes, I'm not very good, coach. And I've got a couple scholarship offers for basketball. He goes, what scholarships? I said, well, Cal State LA and and Fullerton,
Yeah.
And he said, come play football and I'll get you a better scholarship. And I said, okay. And I wanted to be good at football. I just wasn't. So I go out there, and after about the third day, he pulls me aside and says, son, you're not very good.
Oh gosh. You got the size, but you're not very
tell
good.
You, bro, Anyhow, he said, but you can be. He said, you can be. You just need to get lighter on your feet. And he handed me a jump rope. And he said, you need to learn how to, have you ever done this? I said, no. And he goes, you need to learn how to jump rope. Well, I'm 17, somewhat uncoordinated, and I'm certainly not going to sit there and do something that a girl does, and not be able to do it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be good, so I took it home, and out in the backyard. You have a boxing gym. I know you know how to jump rope.
Yeah.
And so you also know that when that thing hits your foot, it hurts, and it was hit my, because it was horrible. But one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And I actually got to the point where I was actually very good at it.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember going back and bringing my jump rope and going, hey, coach, you want a jump rope? I wanted to show him. I was going, and changing feet. And that guy and he was doing the gallop. I'm like, come on, man. You don't even know how to jump rope. You're telling me to jump.
You're telling me I need to.
So back to the story is that, did it make me a better football player? I don't know, but I tell you what, when I did that and to see him go, the confidence that it gave me.
Yeah.
And it did make me lighter on my feet, right? And the confidence was beneficial. But I'll share this is that what he promised me did come to fruition. By getting out there and being on the field, I had scholarship offers then to Cal, U of A, Cal State Fullerton offered me a dual scholarship in Hawaii, and then I chose San Diego State.
Okay.
And when I got down to San Diego State, about the second day we were there, the 5 freshmen, we were in early. What do you think that offensive line coach handed each of us?
A jump rope.
A jump rope. And I went right to skip and do my Lou, boom, doing tricks at that point. I kept doing it. And the 4 other cats looked at it like I did when I was 17. And I'm like, and the question I will ask when I'm talking to young folks is, what do you think happened immediately? I set myself above the 4 other guys there.
Yeah.
Just based on the fact that I was doing something that they couldn't do.
Exactly.
And doing it well. And then that coach grabbed the head coach and said, look at this kid, you know.
And you became the example.
I did, and so when you have a coach come to you, or you have a parent come to you, or a teacher come to you, and they ask you to do something, that you're not comfortable doing. They're not doing it to make your life miserable. They're not doing it to make you look foolish. They're doing it to help you.
Yeah.
And they're doing it because they see something in you, and you have to be willing to accept that challenge. If you want to be special, if you want to put yourself above everybody else, then you've got to do those things that make you extraordinary. And so the point I make with this is that it just didn't catapult me there at San Diego State, but then in my professional career. And if I have a minute, a quick story is that when I first got licensed, and for 20 years I did investment management, when I first got licensed, my job was to get a phone book. Now, you're old enough to know what a phone book is. Yes. So if you have if the kids are listening, okay, we didn't have phones like you have now. We had a book this big with phone numbers in it and people's names.
Exactly.
And my job was to call complete strangers.
Yeah.
And convince them to come into our bank and talk to us about their money. Okay. No easy task.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And so, but the requirement was to make at least 30 phone calls and touch at least 10 people and set at least 2 appointments, right?
Yeah.
Well, I decided I was going to call 100 people a day, speak to 50, and set at least 5 appointments a day.
Yeah.
Which I did. It didn't sound like any fun to me, just like jumping rope didn't sound any fun to me.
No, exactly.
But you know what? I wanted to be extraordinary.
Yeah.
I wanted to be better. So I did that, and then within a month, the other senior advisors heard about what I was doing, and they wanted me to be their junior rep.
Yeah.
Management came to me and asked me to lead then presentations teaching all the other junior reps how to cold call.
Yeah.
Within 4 months, I had my own branch, and within 4 years, I was vice president of a bank. I don't even have a degree.
Yeah.
But by doing the little things that set you apart, right, you are going to become extraordinary. You're going to be able to.
You know what? It's funny that you say that, though, because it goes back to that jump rope.
It does.
That lesson with the jump rope, right? And us having our boxing gym here, there's a lesson from day one, right, that we have the boxers go through. So there's kids that have come in, and it's just, and you can see the look on their face like, oh, God.
Yeah.
But
I want to hit something. But no, you got to do all these other things.
Do you know what the first thing that they have to learn to do is? Wrap their hands.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So there's just recently, kid had to wrap his hands. The whole practice. He was here for 2 hours wrapping his hands. Nope, that's not right. Redo it. Have to go roll it back up. Redo it. But what they don't realize is there's a process, right?
Right.
That's step one. I want to get in the ring. I want to go and box. Okay. Yeah. This is step one.
Yep.
But just like how you said, this was a career now, and you were able to go back to that jump rope.
Yeah.
What that taught you.
Yep.
I mean, that's huge, right?
Well,
there.
and what you're teaching,
cool.
is something else that's very important, is discipline, and discipline trumps motivation all day long, because if you're disciplined, every morning you wake up, you are still going to do the same thing, regardless of whether or not you're motivated to do it. Exactly. Motivation wanes. Yeah. It's an emotion. It comes and goes. But if you're disciplined and dedicated, you're going to do it that day too.
Yeah.
And still get it done.
No, that
so
is
discipline
huge
that you
right
teach is very important, and it's going to go beyond the ring and beyond what you're learning here today. You're going to take that then into your life and into your personal life, and be successful there too.
Yeah, no, definitely. So like the jump rope, I consider that an obstacle, right? From moving forward, right? But you accepted that obstacle and you jumped over it and eventually went on.
Right.
Were there any other obstacles that you faced, going through to the NFL?
Sure. So another thing, a topic I'd love to speak about is failure. And my junior year, I had become the starting right tackle midway through the season. We go to play BYU, Brigham Young University, and I walk to the line of scrimmage and I look up. Okay, I was 6'7", 290 pounds, which at that time was very big. And so at 6'7", I don't look up. And the guy across from me, his name is Sean Knight, and he was 6'8", 6'9", 300 and some pounds, All-American, first-round draft pick after that season. And he literally just kicked my butt for the first 4 series. It was just, I knew I was getting my butt kicked. It was not good. I think he had a sack. And so the 5th series, I go running onto the field, and I feel my coach grab me by the collar.
Yeah.
And he goes, son, he goes, look, you're embarrassing me, you're embarrassing your parents, and you're embarrassing yourself. I'm like, oh, yeah, I knew it wasn't going well.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks for the inspiration. But then he said, you know what, sit this series out, and you decide if you want to play.
Yeah.
All right, so that, I think, by definition, is failure. I mean, I wasn't doing the job I needed to do for the team to be successful, and I was placed on the bench. And so, of course, all this work I've been doing for years, that's why I'm here. I want to be on that field.
Yeah.
But I can't very well go back out there doing the same thing I've been doing and expect a positive result, right?
Yeah.
So what am I going to do different? And, I kept trying to take him man on man, and he was just bigger and stronger than I was.
Yeah.
So I got to cut him. I got to do different things, which I started to do. And then I noticed the more times that I cut him, then he was playing me that way, then I could take him on up top. I ended up getting lineman of the game. And so the thing is that through that failure and through being able to reassess and pivot, then I was able to be successful. So the last game of the season was against Iowa in the Holiday Bowl, and I played against Jeff Drost, which was an All-American. And I was like, okay, how's the junior going to do up against an All-American? I go, didn't you guys see Sean Knight? I did okay. First play of the game, Jeff picks me up and throws me into the quarterback. Oh, God. Yeah. I'm like, I don't fly well. And I'm like, but I immediately went back. All right, so this is going to be another strong cat. Yeah. And he made it through 3 quarters. And I don't know, he wasn't in the 4th quarter. I don't know because by cutting him and changing up the way that I was blocking him. Yeah. Ended up getting lineman of the game for that game as well. So through that failure, and it has happened in life. If you look at my LinkedIn, man, it looks like I'm killing it. But there's things in there that I don't put on LinkedIn, and I've had some failures in life that I got sidetracked, and I got benched in life. And frankly, God said to me, son, you're embarrassing me, you're embarrassing your parents, and you're embarrassing yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I've blessed you with so many things.
Yeah.
Sit this out, and you decide if you want to do this. You know, and I looked and I evaluated my life. I'm like, I've got a lot to give, and I don't want to keep doing this. But I can't very well go back out there doing the same thing, expecting a different result. I got to make some changes, and I did. And since then, my life has been so blessed. So
you know, Dave, going back to that coach pulling you aside, right?
Yeah.
Because and it's tough nowadays. Because it's different when we were growing up, okay? Because that's how coaches were.
Right.
Now it's like you have to worry what you say, what you do.
It'll transfer.
Right? Because now if a coach was to say that, you're embarrassing me, you're embarrassing that, you're embarrassing, it's like, you can't talk to a kid like that.
Right.
You know, that kid's just, you lost that kid.
Yeah.
But you had a different mentality, right? Whereas like, okay, let me sit here, let me analyze.
Yeah.
You know, screw this. I want to get back in this game.
Right.
I need to do this.
Well,
instead of a kid just being like,
well, and he was right.
yeah.
You know, I could blame, you know.
No, exactly.
He
but
was
the
right.
thing is, though, is what do kids nowadays have to, I guess, you know, trigger in their mindset to like, hey, a coach isn't, I mean, and I try to explain this to parents. When I'm hard on a kid, right, it's because I care about you.
Yeah.
If I didn't care about you, I'll let you get away with whatever you want to do.
Right.
And not try to improve you, right? A kid could go over there and not even do an exercise. Like we were just talking about bench pressing. If a kid just wants to sit there and he'll get 2 reps in and, okay, coach isn't looking, I just do 2 reps. And this other kid over here, he's busting everything out, you know, and it's like, who is he hurting?
Right.
I saw it, but if I was over there and like, hey, you really, okay, now I'm caring about you versus not.
That's right.
But, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's where I'm struggling too right now. And I don't know if you have some ideas, right? And what can bring that out of kids to like, hey.
Well, it's talking to the kids and telling them that, hey, if a coach is in your face, it's because he cares and he wants the best for you. When you need to be concerned is when he's no longer in your face.
Exactly.
Because he's given up on you. Because you haven't proved you're worth his time.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what, if you're out there giving it your all, you may not be great at it, but a coach is going to stay right there with you.
Yeah.
So going back to my high school coach. My high school coach didn't need me on that team. Okay, 5 of us went to Division I. Mm-hmm. 2 of us went to the NFL. You know, so we had a very good team.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just wanted me to do well. Yeah. So it was really kind of a really cool thing. I went and spoke to 500 Boys and Girls Club counselors, and I told them that about you have an opportunity to make a difference in a young person's life, like my coach did for me. My coach, my high school coach, had been seeing the fact I do public speaking, and said, Dave, I'd love to come see you speak. I said, well, you know what? I'm going to be talking to 500 Boys and Girls Club counselors. Would you like to come to that? They gave him VIP seating right up front. He didn't know what I was going to talk about. He didn't know I was going to share that story.
Yeah.
And when I was done, I said, you know, I'm very blessed to be able to say, Coach Chris Conlon is here. And they gave him such an ovation, you know, and he hated it because he's not one of those guys. He gave me the stink eye, you know, Dave, why'd you do that? But it meant a lot to me to be able to introduce him as a person that made a difference in my life, you know. And I told him, I go, Coach, I said, you taking the time in me. Yeah. And for those of you that are coaches or parents of kids, you know, that are coaching, you don't know the impact you're going to make. I said, Coach, the fact that you, you know, convinced me to play football defined my life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I didn't become a superstar, but I'll tell you what, it was on every resume, and it helped me and opened so many doors for me, and it gave me a lot of confidence as a person. But I said, it defined my life. He said, Dave, he goes, I just talked you into playing football, bro. Yeah. He goes, you did all the work. You know, and I'm like, you know, but that's that guy, you know, and so, but we have an opportunity, you have an opportunity to be, you know, that guy to so many kids, you know, and so I think it's fantastic what you're doing.
You know, and I'm sure if you went back to that high school coach and asked him, you know, he did that for the paycheck. High school coaches don't make anything.
No.
You know, and same thing with me. You know, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not what, you know, I make a decent living, right? And I say decent, You know, it's nothing like, wow, yeah, he's rolling in this Mercedes, or he's.
Oh, but life is so much more than that, bud. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was my point exactly.
Yeah.
Right. People do it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what got me so excited about having you on, because a lot of the stuff that you're doing it for the right reason.
Well,
you know?
So here's one topic I love talking about is when we approach life, when we approach anything, you have two ways to approach it. One is with a purpose, or one's with an agenda. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing it for an agenda, it's about you.
Exactly.
I want the Mercedes.
Yeah.
So you're going to charge more. You're going to make it unaffordable for kids. You're not going to make it available to a lot of kids, and it's about you. And that's not a way to go through life. If you're about purpose, it's about building relationships, about what can I do for you.
Exactly.
So that's why, there's no agenda here. It's about helping and supporting what you're doing.
Yeah.
To be able to reach more kids and to have a message that people want to listen and want to be a part of a great gym like this. And so to have a purpose and build relationships, those are things that are forged for a lifetime. It has nothing to do with what's in it for me. It's what are we going to do together
Exactly.
to make a difference.
Love
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I really want you to talk about the podcast that you have going too.
Okay.
Share that with people and what that's about and what's driving that.
So as I think I mentioned, I get sidetracked on my bio because I'm doing a handful of things.
No, that's fine.
But I think I mentioned Mission Sports. I'm not sure if I did because I mentioned it to you.
Yes.
And I get to blame old age and concussions.
I get to blame old age.
So we're helping launch. I'm a part of the founding board. To launch a faith-based sports camp called Mission Sports, using sports as a catalyst. It's going to be a free camp to kids. It'll be 3 days long, and we got to take them from the field to the classroom. And so we're going to use baseball, soccer, football, and basketball. It's modeled after AC Green's Youth Leadership Camp. I did AC Green's camp for 3 days, and it just works. And we get them on the field, and then we take them and teach them about character building. And then we take them to the field, and we bring them in and talk to them about health. And then from the field, we're going to talk to them about the Word of God. And it's just I think it's going to be a great thing. So as soon as we're able to do it, we've got places to do it, and now we have cities throughout the country. We haven't even done one yet, and we have St. Louis, Houston, Detroit, and Florida. I forget whichever. But people that want us to come out and do these camps, and so baby steps. Do the first camp first. Well. An offshoot of that to kind of bring some awareness and some content and give people a platform to talk about their faith is Mission Sports TV, which I'm launching, and my podcast is called The Locker Room. So we have a YouTube channel, Mission Sports TV, and I've had a handful of former NFL players. I'm the vice president for the NFLPA for Orange County, so I'm able to get guys in to come in and talk to us. I've had guys do it, virtually, from wherever they're at throughout the country, and talk about their faith and talk about getting to the NFL and how that could be kind of a conflict, And we've had guys that have fallen away from their faith and lost everything and built it all back up, much like what I did. You kind of get sidetracked and God will be real quick to say, you know what, if you want to be an idiot, well, guess what? How about doing it with nothing? And he'll just take all your stuff. And that's happened to a number of people, and they've shared that story, and the comeback is wonderful. But we've also had coaches. I had my high school coach on. He was fantastic, and other high school coaches. And we've had some high school athletes that talk about what it's like to be in faith in high school today. Which is, is different. When I coached up north, we said the Lord's Prayer at the risk of him losing his job. Yeah. But it was important to him, that we did that, and the kids, we all said it together before the game. For me, that's game time. Lord's Prayer and then the national anthem. To take either one of those away before a game, man, it's just I don't know if I could do it. But so we talk about walking in faith and what does it look like for you, and it's been a blast to do. And just like you, I started it, really? Podcast? Okay. I flip my laptop up and okay, I need a microphone. All right. I need some lighting. Not that I'm worth looking at, but I need at least not enough shadows on my face or something. But, yeah. So, but it's been a blast, and it's been a blast to get positive feedback from the people doing it. I had my little brother on. My little brother.
Tell them about your little brother. I just found out.
My younger brother, who's 6'9", is still the all-time leading scorer for Azusa Pacific University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame there. Still the all-time leading scorer.
So he's a basketball guy.
Basketball guy.
All
and
right.
So, draft day, I didn't go in the first 7 rounds, which I was supposed to, and so I was a little perturbed. And my phone was still connected to the wall. So yeah, okay.
They don't get that. I get it.
Yeah. So when I wasn't home, there was no way to reach me. Well, he and I were just playing basketball, and I used to irritate him because he was good, and I was just the big brother that would foul him. And anyways, so he was a guest of mine, and he's now a head pastor for a Calvary Chapel in Michigan, and he shared his story of the struggles that he had while he was in school, and ended up playing a few years in Brazil, and then kind of moved on. But it's been a fun thing to do. So I get why you're doing it. Yeah, I was saying as you. I was like, really, a podcast? And then and then someone talked me into doing Facebook Lives, and I'm like, really? But you know what? You do them, and then son of a gun, someone once in a while doesn't say, hey, that was a really good message. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. All right, man. I'm ready for next week. Let's do it again. You never know. Yeah. You never know.
So what led you to like this vision that you have? I mean, you pretty much touched on a lot of different things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, did you have this plan when you were younger? Like, man, I want to get touched in this. I want to touch in this, or
no.
What opened up these doors for you? I guess
so,
that's where I'm trying to go with this.
Right. Well,
like
okay.
what to kind of help the youngers, right? Yeah. Understand like, hey, this door, if you open it up and you have an open mindset,
right?
It's like so many doors could open up and different avenues can, and that's what it seems like is happening to you. I mean, you're touching so many different, you're making impact on different lives, right?
Right.
In many different avenues.
Well, it goes back to the purpose versus agenda, and it goes back to my faith in God. Yeah. Everything I'm doing now it seems to be synergized around how can we spread the message, and how can my brother quotes scripture, I don't.
Yeah.
But I can walk in faith and be an example and a mentor. And I'm a mentor for the Hispanic 100, for the Orange County Hispanic youth, and mentor young people, and I don't preach. I just walk. I just do my thing and try to do it differently than what they see. And then if you can do that, like, there's something different about this cat,
Yeah.
And he's successful. And he has fun, Believe me, I still have a few screws loose. I have a good time. But I don't act a fool, and show people how to treat other people. Exactly. And I end every podcast with love and respect each other, and I firmly believe that. There's so much judgmental things going on. We judge each other. We ridicule our own friends on Facebook because they're buying toilet paper, or because they're wearing a mask, or because they're getting a shot, or because they're not, or because. That's not our place.
Yeah.
The judgments, that's not our place.
Exactly.
Acceptance, right? Empathy, love, and respect for each other. You don't have to like the person.
Yeah.
But we have to love and respect each other, and just let them do their thing, Yeah. So that's
huge.
That's what drives me, and I find the more that I just am open to that, more things get offered to me. And but on the other side, it's also true that the more people see you do, they want you involved in their stuff. And I get things offered to me, and I pray on it. I'm like, boy, that money sure looks good. But you know what? To your point, if that's all it is, there's no passion to it. There's no purpose to it. And frankly, I don't need it.
Yeah.
I mean, money would be nice, but I'd rather be happy.
Yeah.
I've had money.
Yeah.
And I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
So
it's not everything, right?
Yeah, it certainly isn't.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
So one thing you had talked about were some failures, right?
Yeah.
How did those failures kind of, a lot of people think of a failure where it's, man, it just knocks you down and you'll never recover. But to me, because I've had failures, right? And to where I am now, like I was on my podcast, I talked about, I create my own success. I don't let anyone dictate what success is for me. I dictate it, because my version or vision of success might be something different than what yours is, or whoever, anybody's, right? Like, oh, Milo's not successful. You don't know what my vision of success is, so no one could say that, right? Same thing with you.
Right.
What you're doing, like you just said, it's not about the money, it's not about this, what you could buy or anything like that. It's what fulfills you inside, right?
Yeah.
But because of all my failures, it allowed me to reach my successes in my vision.
Right.
So
Well,
how did that affect you, and how
It helps you. It helps you get a clearer picture of what's important, and it helps define you, and it also humbles you.
Yes.
Because my fall from having 5 cars and a large house and a boat and a trailer and being a millionaire to nothing. Okay, that's humbling.
Yeah.
And so then, what's important? Is it having a $10,000 couch that you don't sit on? No. Right.
Yeah.
I'd rather have somebody else have 5 couches and donate the money to, because I've got plenty. But to be humble and then to reassess your values and what's important to you, and then align your life with those values. Is, I think, what you learn from failure. So John Wooden, who's a pretty doggone good coach.
I think I heard of that guy.
Yeah. Vaguely you're familiar. One of the quotes he states, and I love, is that if you haven't failed, well, then you're just not doing very much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Means you're not even trying.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there. Be willing to fail. Learn from the lessons.
Yeah.
Because there's lessons to be learned in it. And
it goes back to that shark.
Yep.
When you were telling me about the shark in the aquarium, right?
Yep. The shark will only grow to the size of the aquarium. You put them out in the wild and they'll be 6 feet wide. So get outside the box. Get outside and put yourself out there. And are you going to get burnt? Yeah. But hey, guess what else? You might actually succeed.
Yeah.
And if you don't that time, you probably will be more likely the next time, and learn lessons from it.
Well, one of the things that I believe too is sharing your story, right? Sharing your failures.
Yeah.
Because, stories that you tell, failures that you talk about, someone else might be going through it, and they might respond differently because it impacted them. And it's like, man, I failed. I just can't. And you don't know, hearing, your failures and how you overcame it. It's like, man, okay, I do have hope. I do have this.
You do have hope. And also share your successes. So one of my favorite quotes from Denzel Washington, each one, teach one.
Yeah.
Take what you've learned and bring somebody else up, or bring somebody else along. And one of my mentees through the Hispanic 100, Johnny Robinson, owns Orange Window Cleaning. No, I'm telling you, this kid's 20-something years old, and I think he had 200,000 revenue last year.
Really?
Killing it, and does a killer job. He did my house and does a killer job.
Yeah.
Well, when COVID hit and had 2 straight weeks of rain, he had lost pretty much every client. And he said, Dave, I'm thinking about folding this up and going just to work. He goes, I got to help my mom with bills, and I got school. And I said, Johnny, let me share a story with you. I said, when I was an investment advisor in 2002 and the dot-com bubble burst, and people were losing 50, 60, 70% of their assets because they were way over-invested in technology, right?
Yeah.
Financial advisors were closing their doors all over the place because they chased those returns. I didn't. I stuck to a portfolio that was balanced and diversified, and I had clients calling me, right, saying, Dave, are we reading our statements right? Because we just came back from a party and everybody's like suicidal. And I'm like, no, you're reading them right, because we didn't do that. And they said, well, can my friends talk to you? Because they can't talk to their advisor. They don't know where he is. And in my head, I'm thinking, you know what? I am going to reach out to every single person that told me no. Or every person that said, oh, I bought Cisco Systems, I'm up 600%, because they're not now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I did. And I had my best year ever. I said, Johnny, do this. Everybody has told you no over the last, you probably have, a catalog. Everybody has told you no, that they already have a window washing company. Reach out to them, because guess what? If you're struggling, so are other window washing companies.
Yeah.
And anybody that is a current client that has canceled, say, we get it, we'll be here, and we'll give you a 10% discount on your next thing because of COVID. We know people are struggling. And he goes, because I said, Johnny, I'm not going to tell you to quit, because I don't know your financial situation, but I'm going to say this: you can only quit once.
Yeah.
So hang in there and just try this. Well, he kind of went misto for about 3 months. And he called me. He goes, Dave, I'm sorry, I've been swamped. He goes, I just had my best month ever, $20,000 in gross revenue. He said, next month I'm anticipated to do another 50% over that. And they said, and I have an opportunity to buy a company. So we met and we talked and looked over the financials about him buying another company. It didn't make sense for him to do it.
Yeah.
But he said, the advice you gave me, he goes, you didn't tell me to quit or that not to quit.
Yeah.
But he goes, I listened to what you were saying about, giving it a try and doing these things and the things that I learned. So, whether it be through failure or through successes, we have to reach out and teach the younger people what we know that has worked and what hasn't worked. So,
no, definitely.
Yeah.
Speaking on that and your background with financial advising, right? We have some college kids in here. Some of them might go on. We have a couple that are possibly on the verge of playing in the NFL, right? And some other pro sports, baseball or whatever. But, one thing that I see that I hear a lot of is former pro athletes. They live over their means, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's time, their career's done, it's like, what happens?
Yeah.
Where's that missing piece? Who can help out with that missing piece of educating these guys? You would think their agents, their managers, and all of this would be educating them, right?
You would think.
Like, hey, yeah, I'm concerned about you as an athlete right now.
Yeah.
But let me prepare you for after you're done.
Yeah. Well, now there has been a big push towards that because I think the number was up to around 70% of former NFL players were bankrupt within
That's crazy.
a handful of years.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't make good decisions. You get a feeling of being invincible, and you think the money is going to last forever, especially in today's dollars. Back when I played, like I shared with you, the money wasn't near as what it was today or what it is today. But there is a big push. So that Dante Whitner, who's the president of the Orange County chapter, is in financial services and is doing a whole financial literacy course for the NFL, current NFL and former NFL players.
Yeah.
And so there's a big push for that. But I'm also a board member for the California Council on Economic Education. And what we're doing is we're going to Title I schools and we're going to local high schools and we're teaching kids economics and financial literacy. And I just judged some financial planning competitions. These kids are brilliant. When I got done judging it, I'm looking at what their presentations were.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, they probably had a week or two to do this. 90 minutes. I could have done that with a month because it was visual and verbal.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy smokes! I mean, to see what we're doing to bring the awareness
that's awesome. Yeah.
to kids, and so there is a push towards it because I think guys are a little bit more savvy. There are guys like Tony Dorsett that went bankrupt, because his money was in racehorses for tax purposes.
Yeah.
Guys were just making foolish decisions. So there is more education out there available to them. There is a big push, at least I know through the NFL, to make guys more financially aware. When I was playing, my manager was sending me, partnerships in corporate buildings and in annuities. Well, I was 24 years old and no business in either one of them. And come to find out, it's because both of them had like 10% commissions. So, so now, with all of the mistakes, and I don't want to share the names of a handful of guys that literally lost millions through Ponzi schemes, through their agent, through their manager. They weren't even real companies.
Yeah.
And these are names that you would know.
Yeah.
And that should be really sitting on easy street and are working today.
And these are, and I guess what makes it tough too, right? Is these are people that you trust, your agents, your managers. You're hoping that they're taking care of you, guiding you in the right direction.
No.
But
yeah. So that is I think it's a little bit more regulated now. There's an approval process in order to be an agent. That and you have certain criteria that you have to meet in order to be able to represent players in the NFL, and so. They're doing making some steps, but there's still a lot of work to be done there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to share with us?
Well,
anything else you're working on? I mean,
well,
your portfolio is huge, so it's like,
maybe I'll come back when my book's done. I have a couple of books we're working on, and I'm really excited about Energize Health and helping people with getting properly hydrated and all the benefits of doing that. We're just seeing such
Tell us a little bit about that.
So, you know, we know there's issues with, especially with young people with diabetes. More kids will die from diabetes before their parents pass due to diabetes because of just poor health decisions, eating choices, and one of the biggest misnomers about diabetes is that everyone ties it to blood sugar and sugar issues. Well, it's actually because the pancreas is dehydrated and not processing sugar like it should. If properly hydrated, it would be. So it's all about getting water to the cellular level and then getting rid of all that stored fat. You know, we're both chronically dehydrated and obese in this country, and so we take, and I think the number is, I think the U.S., although we comprise 5 or 10% of the population, we take 70% of the medication, prescribed pills. The numbers go on, and it just boils down to, we're just not taking in the water that we need for our bodies to be properly hydrated. And so when I started this program, I think I was at 41%, and now I'm at 52%, and ideally it's like 60%. But we just help people figure out what that is to them and the benefits of doing it. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that team and getting the message out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that's it.
For today. I don't know.
No,
maybe I'll be here next week and helping the kids get to a 500-pound bench.
Yeah. You guys believe that? 500-pound bench press.
Yeah. We'll teach them just like everything else we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Talking about building the foundation, setting it, having techniques and discipline, and then once you have that, then the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
But you got to start with wrapping.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to start with a jump rope.
Yeah.
You got to start with proper technique.
Yeah.
You can't just go throwing weights up without knowing what you're doing. You'll never get anywhere.
Yeah.
It'll be a year later, and you'll be in the same place. So.
I think that would be pretty cool to have a bench pressing clinic.
I'll do a clinic.
Oh,
yeah, I'd be happy to do it.
There's a lot of kids that would love that.
Be happy to do it.
Even the coaches would learn something new.
I can assure you, yeah. So. And I'm in the gym every day, and I see young kids that are part of programs that are just all over the place. And I did one for a program called Wired Right, and did a video that's going to be a nationwide thing. And so I just love giving back to kids. I mean, it's something that I know works, and it took a lot of work. I have long arms. And when I signed my letter of intent to go to San Diego State, I don't know that I can even bench like 135. I was a basketball player. I never lived it, I'm like, holy smoke. I went to Cal, and I'm like, I said, no, I'm going to get killed here. Those guys were like men walking around, So I told San Diego State, I can survive here, But, so it took a lot of work to get there to be one of the strongest guys. They bench pressed 225 for reps, right?
Yeah.
Well, my combine wasn't very good. I had the stomach flu, and but 2 years later was a league starting up, and all the guys were benching. And fortunately, one of the scouts, it was a spring league. He goes, one of the scouts was from the Seahawks. He goes, "Are you Dave Des Rochers?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, don't do anything." I said, and he goes, "We'll draft you." I said, "Okay, good." I didn't want to. I hate running. I was, like I said, I was 365 pounds. So it's just, but then I watched the guys benching, and I'm like, I couldn't help myself. So I was with a buddy of mine, Barry Voorhees, who's since passed. And I go, "Barry, let's go bench." And he goes, "Okay." So the guys are doing like 18 reps, 23 reps. So I put on 405 and did it like 10 times. And then I go to do 225. I do it 46 times, which, it was just stupid. Wait, it gets dumber. Barry just racked it at 50. Like, okay, I'm done. Yeah. So, and then there were like 4 benches, and they were just crickets.
Everybody go.
Nobody wanted a bench. We're done. Okay, drop the mic, man. We're out.
That's funny.
So I enjoy it. As a lift, I enjoy doing, but it's one of the worst technique lifts of any of them out there that I see kids doing. So I'd be happy to help if I can.
All right. No, that'd be awesome.
All right.
Seriously. I appreciate that.
Of course.
All right, Dave. Well, hey, thank you for taking time out of your day and
Sure.
coming out and sharing your story and giving some good nuggets, man. I call all these wisdoms, right? These little things, some nuggets.
Yeah, and I got to share them while I can still remember them. But, hey, I'll tell you, though, I told you I grew up in Glendora, which is right down the road. I'm going to go hit Maria's from here, sort of making a day of San Gabriel Valley. Yeah, I came up from Orange County, and I'm going to go visit some stomping grounds and hang out. So it was great to be up here, and I look forward to coming back out and helping support you in any way I can.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate it.
All right.
Appreciate you. All right, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in, and tune in next week for another special guest. Peace.
Cool.